Welcome to your journey of healing with the Healing Podcast, hosted by licensed clinician Monique Owe and co-host Dr. Amber Mohn.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast. I am your host, licensed clinician Monique Owe, and I am joined by my lovely co-host here,
Dr. Amber Mohn.
Okay, today's topic is stress, the silent killer. So before we go into stress and all the things that it causes and what happens, let me give you a definition of what stress means, or one of them anyway. Stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. Okay, so that is one of the definitions of stress. We're just going to talk about that today. So when we talk about stress, it's those demanding things, the way we feel when we have a lot of pressure because we have a lot of things to take care of, a lot of things to handle, and it just becomes a lot, right? It's just those things of life. Stress. Some stressful things might be work. Work is a stressful thing sometimes. The pressure of completing your tasks at work. Dr. Mohn, what else can give us stress?
Being someone's caretaker, whether it's kids or adults, can be very stressful.
Yes, being a caretaker, definitely. Some other things that causes us stress are just the demands to keep up with things, like having to go to this function, that function, like if you have a big family, and let's say there are a lot of birthdays in the same month, and you also have friends, and it's like you feel like you have to go to that birthday, then next week is this birthday, then I have to go back to work, then it's this birthday, then I have to travel because we have this wedding. So sometimes the events of life can cause stress too, right? Sometimes that's just what it is. We have to go places, so we feel the need to go places, and it can be a lot to manage. And I think, Dr. Mohn, if I can ask you, why do people feel like we have to do those things? Like, why can't we just say, I'm not going to do it?
Good question. I always say, we have this saying at home, DTM, doing too much. And so I'm like, if doing too much with a person, sometimes we just, if this is just, especially women, I'm including myself in this. Sometimes we think we're super women and we just need to do everything tomorrow. And so saying no is like something that we just don't do. We just take on too much, and then be the first one to complain when when you're tired or you have a break,
Right, that is true. And and Dr. Mohn said we feel like we got to do everything tomorrow. I know, we got to do everything today. You got something like it has to happen right now. And you're like, wait a minute, none of that has to happen right now. But you feel like you do, like you said, yes, as women, sometimes we do feel like we have to be superwoman, handle everything. And sometimes that's just us. It's not that we have to handle everything, but we feel like we need to handle everything because no one else will do it right. Well, that's a lot of stress too. Also, when you're being a caretaker, especially if it's like of a parent who is now elderly or a child who maybe has special needs or needs special attention, if you don't have a good balance, that does add in the stress, and to the point, it just becomes a lot to deal with. And Dr. Mohn, if I can ask you, what happens when we're too stressed? What can happen with that?
Oh, a lot of things can happen. Anxiety, heart problems, depression, high blood pressure. Our immune systems aren't right. We get sick and don't know why. It's because we're broken down.
Yes. Many autoimmune diseases happen because we were too stressed. Lupus being one of them. It's an autoimmune disease that attacks the body. So if you don't know what autoimmune disease is, it's just a condition where the body is fighting itself. That's a kind of a basic definition of an autoimmune disease. So it's basically your body saying, we have an immune system, right? It's supposed to fight germs. Your body is saying, nope, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to attack my own body. And stress will do that, right? Stress will make our body think, oh, we got to fight each other. And then it creates a condition like a lupus or another autoimmune disease, and then you have the effects of that condition. So all of that is because we're trying to juggle too much. We're not releasing those things. We're not talking to everybody or someone, about those things. We're not saying no enough, right? We're always saying yes. The need to say yes because we feel like we have to people please, and if we say no, people are going to be upset with us, so we must handle it. And then sometimes you're a single parent, so you do have to handle a lot of things on your own, especially when it comes to your children. Or if you're single, that's for both mom and dad. It just is a lot. You got to work, you got to take care of the kids, you got to go to their function, you got to go to a parent-teacher meeting, you have to go to the extracurricular activities, all those things. or if maybe your spouse is in the military, so you do have to be home a lot by yourself, so maybe your spouse is deployed. All those things can lead to stress. And another effect of stress is weight. It can cause you to gain weight. It can cause you to lose weight. It can keep you in that state because your body just doesn't have the capacity right now to help you with that weight. It's either going to store it or you're just going to constantly lose it. Even if you're trying to eat a balanced meal, it's not working. Well, matter of fact, if you're stressed, you're probably not even eating right. You're probably eating something really late at night after you've been up all day since 6 in the morning. Then here comes 11 o'clock at night. This is when you're finally eating. You're finally getting a drink of water, or you're just grabbing something really quick on the go, a piece of cake or something, because this is good enough for me. Or you don't have an appetite. You're so busy. Have you had a day when you've been so busy that next thing you know, it's the end of the day, well, I'm not even hungry, I'm going to go to sleep. Well, I'm happy you can get to sleep, but what about what you needed to eat, right? So that's another thing about stress that can get in the way. You know, Dr. Mohn mentioned high blood pressure. How is your blood pressure today? If you've ever noticed, if you're a good person that takes inventory of your body and how you feel, you know when you have like a really stressful day and you'll notice you don't feel too right, and you'll think your blood pressure is probably showing you it's not right, you'll start to feel those effects. You know, you can start to feel it like something is wrong. I can tell something is off. And if you go to the doctor right then or to one of the grocery stores and you get your blood pressure checked or something, and you'll see it's elevated. It's very high. And now you might have an issue now with high blood pressure because you are so stressed, right? You're trying to do everything. And that's not a way to live life, right? Dr. Mohn, would you say, is that a way to live life? Like, why can't we just hustle and bustle and just do everything? Why not?
Because we just can't, and a lot of times, I know you talked about, single parents, or if a spouse is in the military, sometimes we have support and we're, reluctant to ask for a lot of different reasons. And so we have to know when enough is enough, and to ask for help if we need it. So I think that's important. But also too, going back to the health issues, our bodies are unique vessels. So our bodies let us know when something is wrong. Now, whether we want to listen to it or not, that's something totally different. But, if you're at stroke level, you can't barely see in front of you, but you still at work trying to get this report done. If you're popping in acids or popping, drinking, your body something is wrong. And so a lot of times we just keep going and we'll drive ourselves into the ground for a company that, Monique, and I know you've heard this before, that if you die tomorrow, 30 days later, I guarantee that they will have your position posted.
Yes, I don't care if you think you're the only one that can do it. No, trust me, they'll find someone.
Exactly.
I think I want to say, Dr. Mohn mentioned that we don't ask for help. We might have help around us, but we don't ask for help. I want to ask Dr. Mohn, what is that thing in us that causes us not to ask for help when we probably do have help around us? What is that?
PRIDE. For all of the spelling bee champs out there. No, sometimes it's our pride. Sometimes, if we, can't stand the auntie down the street, she don't, take care of my kids, right? For whatever reason. There's so many reasons why we choose not to ask. But you would rather run yourself in the ground than get some help. You got an issue.
Yep, I think that is true. I think, that pride does get in the way. And pride, let me tell you, pride will destroy you.
Yes.
It's good to be proud of certain things, but that pride to get in the way of things, to make you do things that you shouldn't, that's a problem. Like for example, maybe you cursed one of your family members out or a friend, but you do need their help now. Mm-hmm. So you are too prideful to say, I'm sorry for what I did, but I do need your help, or admitting that you were wrong. So you rather, I'm going to take all this on and do it myself. Or you just want to prove to people this false sense you got it together, that you are so independent, you can do it. With these jobs, why do you not take a day off? Why are you not taking a day off? No, I'm not going to call, I'm not going to do it. For who? Are you doing it for the job or are you doing it for yourself? Tell me why. Because that job is going to be there. The work will be there tomorrow. You might need a day off. So, if you don't do that, like we're telling you, it's going to affect your health. It's going to affect how you interact with people. It's also going to cause you to have a nasty attitude sometimes. You're going to be very short with people sometimes. You might be angry. You might be down because you are so stressed. And you're wondering why you're that way, because you're stressed out and you won't put it down and you won't look elsewhere and you feel like you have to do something. You have to do this. Who told you you had to do it? I don't know who told you that. That is in your head that you have to do this one thing and you can't do it differently or ask for help. Now, maybe, let me go to the people who feel like they really don't have anyone. Maybe they don't have a lot of family. They don't have a lot of friends around them. So they do feel like they have to do it by themselves. Well, their services, guess what? They're cleaning services. And they don't have to cost that much. You'd be surprised. What you would spend going out to fast food and buying food for the family, that can pay for somebody to come in and clean your home for that week. You'll be surprised. Have you ever looked up how much it costs? How about the laundry? The laundry gets piled up and it becomes a task, right? Drop it off to the wash and fold. Let the people do it for you. They need their job just like you need your job. That helps them feed their family. It helps you function in your family. So if you don't have support, you feel like you don't. I usually can highlight to people that yes, they do somehow. But let's say you don't. Maybe you are single. You have no one around you. Maybe your family members have passed on. Then I want you to contact services. There are nonprofit organizations that can help. There are for-profit companies that can help. So my whole point is there is help out there somewhere, but you choose to, it's going to be me, me, me. Well, me is not going to be anyone if you keep with that stressful thing or those things. So before we go into what we would do about stress and how you can help yourself if you're stressed, just going to segue right here into our, you guessed it, the situation. Dr. Mohn, what do we have today?
All right. Thank you, Monique. Here is our situation. Dear Healing Podcast, my girlfriend has a work husband and I am starting to feel uncomfortable. They eat lunch together and talk about everything under the sun. She comes home and tells me about them all of the time, but I think they are getting too close. I know if I tell her, she would just say it's nothing, but I know my girlfriend and I believe they are getting too close. Sincerely, too close for comfort. Oh, it's that work husband thing. First of all, let me just thank you for, writing in and trying to, get a second pair of ears to this situation. I've never been a fan of the work husband thing. And so I see that you all are not married. You said my girlfriend. So it sounds to me like, you two aren't even married. And then here she is. She got a work husband at work. Now, I'll say this, I've been, Monique, we've both been, in an office setting. And so we get, we have our little cliques and our lunch crews and we, talk and, share things. But when is sharing, when is it, when do we cross the line? It sounds to me, when you said you talk about everything under the sun, that means it's no longer just about work anymore. It sounds to me like they could be, talking about maybe your relationship. And if that is the case, Mr. or Mrs. Sincerely Too Close for Comfort, then this is a conversation you definitely need to have, with your girlfriend, because if it's making you uncomfortable, it's valid, and so you definitely shouldn't be punished for your feelings. You need to express your feelings to her. I think, and I'm hoping that, you are working towards, something more than just being girlfriend and boyfriend or girlfriend and girlfriend. So then you definitely need to let her know how you feel. And, I think that, depending on her response, will kind of tell you where you are. Relationship. But I just have to put that out there. Never been a fan of the work husband and work wife. I could never come home, Monique, and be like, yeah, my work husband. I just feel like, what? So I don't know. What do you think?
Well, thank you for writing in. And what I will say is that, we spend the majority of our time usually at work, especially if you work full time or even if you're an entrepreneur and you have your own company. Think about it. Okay, an average, as they say, a 40-hour work week, if that is your position, sometimes it's more than that. That's 40 hours with this same person every week of the year. So that you do get a connection with people, right? And sometimes you do get a connection with a person of the opposite sex or whoever that is, that it's just you trust them. My question would be, is she was comfortable enough to tell you, or you are just hearing her, you either hearing her talk about this person a lot, or she was just comfortable telling you about this person. So since it does make you feel uncomfortable, I would tell her that it makes you feel uncomfortable and tell her why. Like maybe you feel like she's talking to this guy too much, and you need to ask her, what are you talking about so much? Sometimes it really is nothing, but it probably is, well, it's more than the job. It might be just about, oh, did you see that movie last night? Not a big deal, right? But if it's about your relationship maybe, or her family issues or whatever she's not feeling right about, you want to address that. I think I know connections are going to happen. So my main thing with you would be to talk to your girlfriend, as Dr. Mohn said, about why it bothers you that she's constantly talking about this guy. Because my thing is, how did you find out? Either she told you that she has this quote unquote work husband, or you just picked it up because she's always talking about, oh, I'm talking to this person, or she's texting on her phone, you're like, who are you texting? I'm texting this person. And I would talk to her about that, because sometimes I'll give a little bit of leeway here. The person doesn't realize they're doing something till you highlight it. So she may not realize how much she's interacting with this gentleman the way you see it. And when you highlight to her how much it bothers you because you're her actual boyfriend, she may cut that down. She may realize, you know what, you're right. It's kind of not being respectful of you and our relationship. So let me kind of tone that down. But you need to ask her why she's so comfortable with talking to him and calling him her work husband versus talking to you, who is her boyfriend. I think it's just worth a conversation. Have a conversation, discuss it, tell her why it bothers you, and see if you guys can come to a resolution. That's what I think right now with that situation with the work husband, because it does happen. I get it. You know, we are at work a lot, so I hope that helps you. I hope you can do something with that. But main key point, as Dr. Mohn said, and I'm saying, is communication. Talk to her. If you can't talk to her, last thing, if you can't talk to her, you feel like she won't listen to you, well, then you know you have a bigger problem. There's an issue in your relationship. If your partner cannot talk to you, at least have a conversation, well, then I'm going to ask, well, why are you together if we can't even talk about our issues? Okay, thank you for writing in. We're just going to go ahead and go back to the topic at hand, which is stress, the silent killer. Dr. Mohn and I have discussed why stress is a problem and can cause us to get sick or other issues in our life. And what I want you to do is to first ask yourself, why are you doing all these things? Why are you not saying no? Why can't you just put that task down? Why do you always have to volunteer for overtime or mandatory overtime and you never say no? Why is it that you are the only caretaker for your family or your children? For example, is the mother or father in their life and they can't help you? Why is that? Why is that? If you are a person taking care of your elderly parents, well, why is it just you? Did you take on that role and insert yourself into that role, or is it truly, and you're not telling your siblings, or is it truly that they can't? Maybe they are disabled as well, so they can't take care of your parents. So I want you to first do an inventory and find out why you think it always has to be you. That's 2. Number 3, I want you to take a day off. I don't care who you are right now. Take a day off. You can call out of work one day. It's not going to stop anything. You probably have time built up and accrued and probably have lost time because you keep working and not taking time for yourself. You don't have to have a place to go to take a day off. Yes, you can just stay in a house and that one day just watch TV or read a book. That is okay. It's not going to stop anything. And tomorrow you jump in. You know, log off early sometimes. Every now and again you need that. You know, sometimes you need to take a pause. Hit the pause button. You don't want to hit the stop button, hit the pause button. That's all. Dr. Mohn, what would you say? What would be another thing we could do to cope with the stress that we have in our life?
2 things, Monique. Number 1, work-life balance. If you are prioritizing your work over family and your health, you got it backwards. We both are in the helping field. We definitely didn't start this for the money. Would you agree?
I would say so.
So, you know, we're already doing things that make us feel good and we're making money while doing it. But we have to have a healthy cutoff. You know, I get it. Sometimes you have to come home, sometimes, you know, and do a little work or whatever. But, you know, when you make your job your entire life and you prioritize that over your family and your health, you are on a road to destruction. That's one thing. But neglecting yourself, if you neglect yourself, you know, health-wise, emotionally, physically, then you are on the verge of neglecting all other things that are important to you. Especially, I'm talking to those who have people that depend on you, whether it's kids, you know, your mother and your father, anybody. You know, if you are the person that, you know, keeps your family together and you're not taking care of yourself, imagine a life with you gone. So you have to take care of yourself and put what's most important first. So there we go. Monique, what do you think?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mohn. Those are very good points. That is true. If you're going to be this caretaker, you're right, and you don't take care of yourself, well, you're not going to be here to take care of those you love. So that thing that you can only you can do it right. How are you going to do it if you are sick or if you pass away because you have had a stroke because you have been so stressed out? So I do want you, as Dr. Mohn said, you know, just stop. Take care of yourself. Stop killing yourself over a job. You know what? Maybe it's time for a new job. I know, I've been here so long and I'm going to retire. Well, how are you going to retire if you're not here? Maybe you need to go into early retirement. Maybe it's time to switch career paths. You got to do an inventory. So another thing I'm going to say is do an inventory about why really do you need this particular job? I know you need money. You need money to live. But why do you need that job? What if there's another job out there that's less stressful and pays you more money? What about that? But you're not even looking at that because you're always at this job. So take care of yourself. Look at what's going on. Go to the doctor. One thing I'm going to tell you first, go to the doctor, please. See what your blood work looks like. See how your blood pressure is, your cholesterol. See how your glucose levels are, and see what is going on, just to see about that first. Let's see, make sure you're good health-wise, physically. And then, I want you to maybe consider talking to someone. Talk to a life coach, talk to a therapist to try to help you manage all these things, because if not, we don't want to see you in intensive care and then they unfortunately tell your family that you didn't make it because you had a heart attack, a massive heart attack, and that's it. You're gone. We don't want that for you. Take care of yourself. Put yourself first. Consider yourself and realize things will work out. You don't have to handle everything. Before we close it out, Dr. Mohn, anything else?
Well, I think we covered it.
All right. So let me go ahead and leave you guys with something for today so you can go ahead and carry on and keep it going. So, and that is, don't stress the could haves. If it should have, it would have, okay? So don't stress the could haves. If it should have, it would have. So I'm going to leave you with that. That is unknown. I don't know who that quote is by, but I thought it was a good one. So we thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast. We thank you for your support. Make sure you share it with your friends, your loved ones, your co-workers, even your enemies, because they need some healing as well. And also, you know what? I didn't highlight our sponsor for today. If you are looking for some therapeutic services and you're in the Atlanta or Georgia area, we want you to go ahead and go to healingexpressionsllc.com, healingexpressionsllc.com, and go ahead and contact them for some therapeutic services. And also, if you like this podcast, please make sure you go to thehealingpodcast.com. If you'd like to submit for the situation, if you'd like to contact us, send us a message, go ahead and go to thehealingpodcast.com, go to the contact tab, fill out the little form there, or you can email support@thehealingpodcast.com. That's support@thehealingpodcast.com. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon.